Hi there, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I'm Rivka Slatkin, and I'm here with my husband,
Shlomo Slatkin.
And today we're going to present this webinar to you, those of you who have read our free guide, Why Your Marriage Isn't What It Used to Be. And if you've also read our free book, The 5-Step Action Plan to a Happy and Healthy Marriage. This webinar is going to help you integrate everything that you've read and that you've seen and now that you've watched. So that way you can gain aha moments in another way and also integrate everything that you've learned so that you can really experience transformation in your relationship, simple transformation. And that's why we call this 1 hour to relationship wow, because even in an hour today, you will be able to experience major transformation if you implement what we teach you today. So without further ado, we're going to get started. Let me just get to our slides. So today's class is going to cover what will make the most positive difference in your relationship in 1 hour.
Right. And it might sound hard to believe, but there really is one thing that can really make a huge shift. And we're really excited to share that with you today.
Great. So I don't know if you're new to us and who we are. By now, you probably know a little bit about us, but we'll just give you a little bit of a brief introduction. Shlomo is a certified Imago relationship therapist, and he's a master's in counseling psychology. He is an amazing marriage counselor. He is only a marriage counselor. He doesn't see any other group of people like children or individuals.
Typical individual therapy. Yeah.
Because he wants to specialize specifically in couples. And the reason that's important is that, a lot of people with, counseling degrees or social work degrees will graduate and then they'll say, okay, we're ready to see couples and individuals and families and kind of like one big bucket of
like a general practitioner. But, right. But just as with any type of health issue, whether it's mental health or physical health, you want to make sure you go to a specialist, especially if you have an acute problem. So if you need surgery, you want to go to a surgeon. You're not going to go to your pediatrician or your general practitioner. So too with couples issues, they're so delicate. And it's really a matter of life or death for the relationship. So you really want to make sure that you're going to someone who really has the training and specialization in that field.
Right, because there's just too many instances where people have gone to therapy and it's actually made their marriage worse.
And the odds are actually against it succeeding.
Right. So working with an Imago therapist really prevents that phenomenon. So Shlomo's written several books and created different programs. He's been on lots of media, CNN, NPR, Fox News. You can read about our work. And if you want to see more, a little bit more about our work, you can visit our website as always. So do you want to share our story, Shlomo?
Yeah, so when I met you, Rivka, it was just amazing. I would say it's kind of like love at first sight. We spent hours with each other, talking, walking around the nation's capital, very romantic. And we really felt like it was timeless. I mean, I really felt like I found my soulmate, someone who could really understand me like no one else ever before. And I just, of course, couldn't sleep at night. All the various things that we experience typically in that romantic stage of marriage, of a relationship when we're courting. But at some point into the engagement period, and even especially afterwards, after our first child was born, we started having some serious conflict, and it was really hard. We kind of couldn't believe that, where we were and how connected we were in the beginning, that we would get to such a place. I remember we would never believe that, and people would say, oh, you're going to have conflict. You have to prepare yourself. Every marriage is difficult. I'm just like, no, we are different. We were just too much in love. We're good communicators. We'll be different. But we were in for a little bit of a rude awakening, and it was kind of scary to see our relationship beginning to unravel. And thank God we got help. If we did not get the help we got, I don't know if we would be here today.
Totally. And thank God we had both heard about imago therapy at the same time. I happened to be visiting a hairstylist, and I was kind of saying like, oh, what do, when you're having marriage problems? And she had told me about this methodology where you go to a therapist and one person shares and the other person repeats back everything that the other person is sharing so that the session stays calm. And so you actually really feel heard. And I thought, wow, that sounds interesting. And someone had told Shlomo about it at the very same time. So thank goodness we went that route, because we've just seen, so many others that weren't as fortunate.
And we discovered in that work we discovered that relationship wow that we're going to share with you today. And that's when everything changed for us. That's when, despite all of the conflict, all the confusion, we were able to see that something else was going on here. And this is really why we're doing what we're doing today. I mean, this is how we got into this work, because it helped our relationship, it saved our relationship, and we're committed to help other couples to save their relationship and not to experience this needless suffering that many of us are, because there is a better way.
So was that a clue to what the relationship wow is?
Stay tuned.
Let me just get to the next slide. So we're about to reveal what that relationship wow is. But before we do reveal what it is,
we want to share with you the following.
Let's understand the prerequisite that you need to have for your marriage to succeed. Shlomo, do you want to explain?
What do you think that is? What do you think the most important ingredient is for a relationship to succeed? Could it be communication, chemistry? There are a lot of things that we might think, but in all my years working with couples, I've personally concluded that the following is the number one reason. And we see that the absence of this ingredient is actually the number one cause of a divorce. So you really need to have this. If you don't have this, that's why divorces happen. If you do have this, that's why you succeed. So what do you think it is?
Well, I know what it is, but it is the number one step in our 5-step action plan book. So if you've read the book and you recall what that number one step is, it is commitment. And if you're not committed, then you really can't really move forward that easily, right, Shlomo?
Right. And this is the study with this ring has showed that the lack of commitment is actually the number one reason for divorce. And when I heard this, I was a little bit surprised at first. But when I thought about my practice, and I thought about, especially early on when I was starting off, and why some couples did great and other couples were not as successful, I saw that the ones who weren't as successful, there was usually one person or both who are not really committed. And if your foot is like halfway out the door, it's kind of hard to work on the relationship and be present and do what needs to do to make it successful. Conversely, so if you have that commitment, even if you don't have all the positive feelings and the love, you can make a relationship work. If you're committed, no matter what, to stay in the relationship and work on the marriage and to make it the best it can be, you can be successful. And I've seen that time and time again. It's very interesting because I've had couples who are coming off, they're experiencing, there was infidelity in the relationship. They're trying to recover from that. And infidelity is devastating. The statistics are against it. 70% of couples where there's infidelity end in divorce. But if they get the right help, they can work on it. So the couples that are committed to saving the relationship despite the infidelity, they're able to stay together. The couples who have like maybe silly little squabbles that wind up just being kind of like general, just escalating into more conflict in the relationship, but there's not really like any huge major issue or betrayal of trust. If they're not really so into the relationship, they don't really want to do the work, they won't be successful. So the most important thing is really to have that commitment.
And I think it says a lot that those of you that are actually watching this webinar, I think that says a lot about you, and it shows that you are interested and you are committed just because you're sitting here and watching. So commit first if you want to experience a relationship wow, which we're still going to get to. But we wanted to make sure before we tell you what that wow is that you're committed. And I'm sure you're thinking, oh, don't tell me I have to do anything else. I'm sitting here, I'm watching you. I've read your books, I've read your guides, I've taken your quizzes, and now I have to do something else.
Right. And you don't want to be told that oh, it's because you're not committed enough that your relationship isn't working. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, I am committed. It's my spouse who isn't. But, we're not here to beat you over the head with it. What we are here to do is to really explore the reasons that we commit. And it could be that you're the one who feels like you're lacking commitment. It could be your spouse. But we'll explore some of the reasons why people commit, why people cease to commit. And then when you discover that relationship wow, it's going to be much easier for you to recommit. And that's why the relationship wow is so powerful, because it's going to help you commit and have that recommit and have that necessary ingredient for success.
So don't worry yet if you feel like you are committed or you're not committed. Don't even worry about that yet. Just stay with us, see why commitment is so important, listen to what the relationship wow is, and then decide if you're committed or not.
So people stay in a marriage for all kinds of reasons. So some of the reasons that we see are some practical reasons, money. It's much cheaper to stay together. I saw a headline, I was on the train. There's a headline, the divorce rate's going down because it's just too expensive to get divorced. Just think about it. Besides the lawyer's fees, dividing your assets, having two separate residences, that alone is quite expensive. So besides all the emotional issues involved. So financially, it's just a much better option. A lot of people stay together for their children. Sometimes they wait till they get out of the house, but they just don't think it's good for them to split up. They're afraid of the future. Sometimes it's peer pressure that wants people to stay together. So there are a lot of different reasons, and these are, they're valid reasons, they're admirable reasons for staying together. But if you're just staying together for these things, it's not going to be enough in the long run. If you're miserable, as much as you want to stay together for kids or for financial security, at some point, it's just the pain is can get too much that those reasons are not enough. So we really need to have a more compelling reason to keep you in the relationship than just some of these practical ones. You really need to have a desire to be with your spouse. You really need to there's something positive there. It's not just these other constraints that are kind of keeping you in the relationship, because otherwise, at some point when it gets too hard, you'll bolt. It'll be enough. You'll be done. So now you're asking the following questions. So that's great, but what if you've fallen out of love with each other? Maybe I just don't love my spouse anymore. So if I don't love my spouse anymore, how can you expect me to want to be with them and commit? Or maybe my spouse is the problem. So I'm fine, I'm committed, but my spouse is the problem. They don't want to change. So how do you expect me, to commit to be with them from a positive standpoint, that I want to desire to be with them? I'm not just staying in it for the kids. Or what if you feel like you really made a mistake? A lot of people feel like, I married the wrong person. This isn't what I thought I was getting, and now you're regretting it. And finally, many people think, well, the grass is always greener on the other side. Like, I'd be better with someone else.
Maybe I should have married that high school boyfriend, or, the other person I dated. You might be wondering.
Right. So if you have all of these questions, and it's going to be hard for you to really get motivated, like, oh yeah, I want to be with my spouse and I love them. It's really far off to think that.
And that makes sense.
So we're going to share with what got us back on track, because we had that connection in the beginning, but we did have some of these questions that entered our mind because we were in a lot of pain. So we were able to recommit because we discovered the relationship wow that we're going to tell you. And once we understood this wow, everything began to make sense. We understood all the suffering, all the conflict that we experienced. It wasn't just random. It wasn't just that we made a mistake or something could be better, but everything was crystal clear for us. And not only did we understand all of the pain, but we also had hope that we could have a better future together. And that's what really allowed us to recommit, to have a strong desire to be together, not for the sake of the kids or for financial reasons or peer pressure, but really because we genuinely wanted to be with each other, and we believed that we were, needed to stay together.
So now we're going to tell you what we discovered.
And that's the secret agenda of relationships.
And this is the relationship wow.
Right. So you're wondering what that is. So we're going to reveal that to you. There is a reason why you picked your spouse, and there's a reason why you're fighting now. So this is really important because it's not random. It's not that we make the wrong decision or that somebody else will be better. There's a really clear reason why you chose who you married. And there's also, and maybe we could think, okay, I buy that, but a reason why we're fighting, that seems to be a little bit far-fetched. But let me tell you, there is a reason why you're fighting now as well. So let's explain why you picked your spouse.
You dated other people. So why specifically did you pick your spouse? I mean, most of you have dated other people's, and there's a reason why you picked your spouse versus all the other
what drew
guys
you
or
towards
gals
your
that you
spouse?
right.
What made you feel connected with them? Why were they different from all the other fish in the sea? So that's because there was something special. They say in French, je ne sais quoi. A feeling that you might not be able to put your finger on, but there was something about them that, I don't even know what it was, but I was just, found something about Rivka that, was irresistible. I had to be with her. I had to marry her. And, I could give you some reasons about why I liked her, why I liked Rivka, but there's something drawing me towards you, something magical. And that is what we call the imago. Now, we talked about that we practice imago therapy. You may not know what that is. You may think it's, some people think it's a Japanese word. Imago is Latin, and it means what it sounds. It means the word image. And the theory is that we have an image of our partner.
An unconscious image.
Right. That image is unconscious. And the partner that we're looking for, that phantom partner, is going to be a composite of the best and worst traits of our primary caretakers. So in other words, marriage is the unfinished business of childhood. We are looking to recreate what we experienced growing up and to find somebody very, very familiar. So that's the reason why you picked your spouse, that there's something very familiar about them and that there's a mission ahead of you. There's unfinished business. It's like you're having a chance to, it's almost like a do-over to get it right this time. So you're getting back, have the same exact circumstances that you had growing up.
So you can get it right this time.
Right.
So it sounds kind of crazy. It sounds like, you married your mother or you married your father, but in some ways it's kind of true, right, Shlomo?
I mean, this is what we saw with each other, and this is what I see time and time again with my clients. And, we have a little work when I work with couples, and we do, one of the exercises we do in a 2-day intensive is that we have them fill out a whole description of their parents, their childhood, the memories, the characteristics, and then they write this relationship journey synthesis, which really has nothing to do with their relationship. I only ask them questions about their childhood, and they fill it out, and it's almost like a Mad Lib, and they read what it says, and it's like, it's reading in the present tense of what I'm drawn towards, how I react in a relationship, filling in all of these childhood experiences in the blanks. And they're shocked. They're just like, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that this is so similar. It's frightening. So I see it all the time. It's not just a theory that sounds nice, but it really, it's spot on. So we're really falling in love with someone who's going to help us recreate what was so familiar and actually get it right this time. If we get conscious, if we get aware of what's going on. If we're not aware of it, it just feels painful. It feels like we're just going back to the same exact experience, and we don't really know what's going on. We just know it doesn't feel good. So we all have what we call unmet childhood needs. And again, as we're talking about childhood, whether your parents are good, bad, or good, they weren't able to fulfill all of your needs. So sometimes people will get reluctant to talk about the past. They don't really want to delve into the childhood. We are not here to pick on our parents. For those of you who are parents yourselves, you do the best you can to meet a child's needs, but you don't always know what they want. A child can't always articulate what they want. If you think about a crying baby, the baby can't communicate. They cry. They might need a diaper change. They might be hungry. They might be teething. They might just be cranky. We don't know what they need. So we do our best to meet their needs, but ultimately we can't always get it 100% correct. And add that on to just the overwhelm that many of us have, and our own issues that we're self-absorbed in, we can't always be fully present and give everything our parents need. So even if we had
Our kids need.
kids need, so even if we had really good parents, there's still things that we didn't need. And many of us had really bad parents who definitely did not meet our needs, and they're just passing on what they got from their parents. So the good news is, for those of you who are parents here, that this is a chance to become more conscious and to know for the future, to be able to stop that cycle, because we really can only give our children what we're equipped with growing up, unless we learn how to do something differently and become aware. So again, there's certain things we didn't get enough of. Let's say I really needed someone to hear me and validate me. I never really felt that, or someone to really understand me. Even if my parents did a good job, maybe they were triggered by something I was sharing. So we walk through our lives with those needs that we're trying to get filled. And we seek a spouse who's going to help us meet those needs we didn't get. So if I never felt like I was really fully understood, I'm going to be attracted to somebody. I'm going to be looking for someone who's really going to get me. So it's like, I felt, Rivka, I felt you really understood me and really got me. And that's what I felt when we had first fallen in love. The problem is, though, it's not so easy. It's not just about, let's figure out what we didn't get in childhood and let's look for somebody who's going to be good at that thing we didn't get, and we'll heal each other and we'll live happily ever after. It's not so easy, because what happens is, the one who has that potential to heal us the most is the one who also can hurt us the most. The reason that is that the thing we need the most from our partner is the hardest thing for him or her to give. So in the romantic stage, there are things that we saw in each other that we liked and fell in love with, and we really thought that we would complete each other and be able to get our needs met from each other. But that was only kind of
showing
that was only a facade. I would say it was only a facade to kind of get us in the door.
We call it nature's anesthesia, because without it, you wouldn't have gotten married, because you can't go into the second stage, the power struggle, first. You have to fall in love first and kind of be blinded to every potential problem that's going to come up. And that lasts for, a good 3 to 6 months, let's say. And then the power struggle starts, and it can last till forever, unless you actually get conscious of what's going on and move into the third stage, which is real love. So in our romantic stage, Shlomo fell in love with me. He thought I was the best listener in the world. He felt completely heard and understood. But when we started moving into the power struggle, I actually became the worst listener in the world. And the more he wanted me to sit and empathize with him and listen to him, that was the hardest thing for me to give.
Right. And we both had reasons for that. Just as I may have had a reason why I needed what I needed based on my unmet childhood needs, the thing that was difficult for you, Rivka, was also based on your childhood, and why it was difficult to listen and to be present was based on your own childhood issues. So we usually find somebody with the imago who our childhood issues, their needs are going to clash. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's going to be hard for the other person to give what we need. So relationships start off in that romantic love. We don't see the potential problems that lie ahead. Otherwise, as Rivka said, we never get married. So everyone goes from that romantic love to the power struggle. And this was a big eye-opener for us, because we realized that, the fact that we didn't feel like we had that romantic love anymore wasn't proof that we made the wrong choice, or that, someone else would be better. This was actually what was supposed to happen. We were supposed to go into the power struggle and face that conflict. And if we got conscious about it, then we could move to what's called the real love, or a conscious relationship.
So remember, we said before, conflict is for the purpose of growth and healing. When we discovered the very conflict that we were experiencing was tailor-made for us based on our imago, I can't read my last slide.
So we were able to recommit.
Right. We were able to recommit. Remember, commit.
Because again, it wasn't about the other person. It wasn't like, I needed a good listener. I thought I was getting a good listener, and now Rivka's not a good listener. I'm duped. I made the wrong choice.
She's a jerk.
Or she doesn't care about, or maybe I didn't make maybe she's just a mean person. She doesn't care about me. She doesn't want to make an effort. When we understood why when Rivka understood why I needed to be heard, and when I understood why it was hard for her to hear me, and then when she had her issues with me, vice versa, when we were able to do that, then we were able to realize, oh, wow, it's not just this random thing, and it's not just that we're trying to purposely hurt each other.
Or that we failed.
Right. That this conflict is really what we both need to be able to grow and heal. And what happens in relationship is this, that the thing that we need, as we said, the thing we need most from our spouse is the hardest for them to give. So the thing that we need most to heal our unmet need is specifically the area that's difficult for our spouse to give. When our spouse is able to meet that need and understand us in a different way, then they actually grow. So we're always having growth and healing occurring. And that's why this couples work is so powerful, because it's not just in individual therapy, you can work on yourself and you can grow, but the true healing, to be able to re-experience what we needed and get it right this time, it's so powerful. So there's always an element of growth and healing. What you need to heal your unmet needs, your partner needs to grow to be able to give that to you,
and
vice versa.
Yes, and you can't do that with an individual therapist. You can actually achieve that true healing. Yes, you can learn, how to be a better this or how to be a better that or how to resolve old issues, but you can't actually grow and heal with your partner. And because we were wounded in relationship, we actually need to heal in relationship with our spouse.
So it's amazing. So it's almost like we said, marriage is the unfinished business of childhood. We create for ourselves, we find this person who's going to remind us of the past. We almost have the same scenario going through our mind in a subconscious way. And then this time we work through it, we get conscious about it. And instead of it being the power struggle between the two of us, and it's about who's wrong or who's right, we see the bigger picture. And we both work together to become more sensitive and meet each other's needs. And then we can experience the healing. So we get it right this time. So it was just so amazing. So we were able to see the big picture and the secret agenda to our relationship. And that did everything for us, because we were sold on a relationship. There was no question about committing, whether this is going to work. We knew this relationship was meant to be. We knew we made the right choice. All we needed to do is get the help to move forward, to learn the skills would help us move from that power struggle to the conscious relationship. And that's what we did in our work together in Imago therapy.
And that's why I said, don't even worry about if you're willing to commit or you're not willing to commit, or you're committed now or you're not committed, because this needs to come first.
You have to be able to understand, if you're not pre-committed, you have to be able to understand, to be really sold on your relationship, that you're in the right place where you need to be. So by getting conscious, by discovering the secret agenda, by understanding that it was supposed to be that way. Your relationship was supposed to start off in that romantic stage and everything was supposed to be great. And it was also supposed to get to the power struggle where everything stunk. Or that's where it was supposed to do. But when you understand the power struggle and understand that secret agenda, you can start realizing the silver lining in this, the growth and healing that's supposed to come out. And that's why you picked each other and were attracted to each other in the first place. So just to summarize, the secret to relationship success is commitment. Without commitment, a relationship cannot succeed. You really need that to be able to work and to build a long-lasting relationship. But if your marriage stinks, you won't want to commit. Even if you have all these other reasons, money, the kids, it's not going to last in the long run. So you really need a compelling reason to commit. So when you learn the relationship wow, which is the secret agenda to relationships, you learn about the stages, the purpose of relationships, the purpose of conflict for growth and healing.
And the proof that you married the right person.
Then you're going to want to recommit.
It's not even going to be a question for you, because you're going to realize that your challenges are tailor-made for your personal growth and healing. So you want to become a better person, you want to grow and heal, you need to be in this exact marriage that you're in now.
So how can you really figure out what that secret agenda is? I mean, you could pontificate on it, you can start thinking about it, but how can you really get to the core issue? And how can you see that silver lining in your conflict? How could you see that, wow, if we can, this conflict, this issue is coming up in our relationship so that I can grow and step into an area that was difficult for me that I could use to become more complete and whole.
And how can you use what you learned today to achieve ultimate growth and healing? And the way we help couples do that is with our 2-day marriage restoration retreat. And what happens during the 2 days that Shlomo works together with you privately with your spouse is that you see your spouse differently. You fall in love again, right? And you see them through a completely different lens.
Right. Instead of viewing them as a villain, as someone who's just causing you pain in your life, making your life miserable, you start seeing that, oh, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. And you fall in love again. You get back to those good moments that you had that made you pick each other in the first place.
Reconnection.
And then you learn how to reconnect,
of course,
in a deeper way than ever before. And really, and that's done through really feeling heard, really feeling understood.
Because you also learn ways to actually listen and hear each other and be heard in a very deep way. Not like what you're experiencing now, where, you're running through the kitchen and the dining room. Hey, honey, can I talk to you? And then it ends up in some kind of, you're not making eye contact. You're not really connected. You're just kind of going through the motions, ending the day, another day, just not really connected. So there's so many amazing things that come out of spending 2 days to really reconnect in a very intensive way with your spouse. You can talk about the most difficult subjects without anger or reactivity, finally be heard and understood. We said,
and that's a big one, because people really feel safe that they can really open up and talk about some of these difficult topics. Because usually when they're doing that at home or even in past therapy, it just winds up becoming, volatile. It becomes depressing. People walk out feeling worse than they came in. And, we really help create a safe environment so that you can be open and honest with your spouse, and not just in our office, but when you go home, to learn a really effective, concrete skills to be able to do that. And you're going to get less annoyed by your spouse because you're going to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And those issues about, did you marry the right person, you're going to feel confident that you're with the right one. And then all the negative stuff in the relationship that's polluting your space, the yelling, the blaming, the shaming, you're going to be able to begin a process of eliminating that and enjoy your relationship again. We have fun. I mean, I had couples that are, they actually, this is really fun, actually. It's kind of surprising when they're thinking about getting divorced. And then finally, to be a model for your children, to be able to give them the relationship that you want to show for them, so that they can create that for their spouse and with your grandchildren.
And also because kids pick up on, when a marriage is not in a good place. They are BS detectors. So they'll know. You can't hide it from them if your marriage is struggling. And kids, the most important thing for them is they need a calm and a stable home. And if they're not living in one, they're going to have behavioral problems. They're going to give you trouble. So you can't hide it from them. Let me share with you a few quotes that people have shared about the 2-day retreat after experiencing it with Shlomo. Just like amazing quotes. And, I spoke with them when they were considering booking an appointment, and I get the feedback when they're finished. And it's just like, it sounds like it's coming from a totally different couple, but it's the same one. So we'd be separated right now if not for Rabbi Shlomo Slatkin. That's one. I love this one. After multiple rounds of interviews, we began to feel that Shlomo Slatkin, while being as competent as anyone else, also radiated a special warm confidence, as if he was doing his life's purpose and we were the couple he was going to help. Amazing. Shlomo is blushing here.
I forgot how to read it. I'm not going to read it. But, and this thing, because we went through it ourselves and we saw that it saved our relationship, and we really don't, we know that things can be better. So it's really our mission. This isn't just a job. This is our mission. We really want to help as many people as possible get to a better place, because we know how hard it is and how painful it is to feel hurt and to be in that power struggle with your beloved. And we also know the sweetness of getting to the other side. And
we just love doing work this way in the 2-day format. Shlomo actually doesn't see couples anymore as a traditional marriage counselor, just 1 hour here or there, because you can't go to, your local marriage counselor for a 50-minute session and expect to, fall in love again with your partner. There's just no way to do that in 50 minutes. By the time you're there, right? It's like it's over.
Yeah.
So we really only do it this way because we want couples to achieve the ultimate, you know, ultimate transformation, which is a saved, fixed marriage permanently. So, Shlomo, why don't you
Yeah.
explain what you do in the 2 days?
So the 2 days is we meet for 2 days privately. There are no other couples there, and we work with you, really working on this. It's like a crash course in your relationship, really understanding how your relationship how it started off and how it got to where it is now, and what you can do to get it to where you want to. So we do a lot of exploring. We get very conscious about what's going on, and we really learn a lot of positive tools that you can implement the minute you go home. And I liken this, it's really like a breakthrough intervention. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Going to weekly, and I did weekly therapy for years with couples, and I found that it was very successful when couples were committed to coming for, and doing what they needed to do. But a lot of times couples in crisis, if you can't wow them in the first session, and I see people 90 minutes, then, they might be out the door. They lose hope. So the advantage of this program is that we have couples are committed to spending, for over the 2 days, 12 hours of therapy, to really learning about their relationship and doing that, getting that relationship well, so that we have enough time to get that relationship well, to understand the secret agenda to their relationship, so that they've bought into this concept of staying together. They believe that they've married the right person, and they know they just need to polish things up to work on their relationship. But they have the hope, and they've seen that there's a different way they can be in a relationship that's much more enjoyable. But another thing that we do, which is unique, and there are a lot of retreats out there and workshops, but we include 8 follow-up sessions. And so we're talking about 24 hours total of therapy. And the sessions are 90 minutes each. And these follow-up sessions are really to make sure that we hold you accountable, because we know how powerful the 2 days can be. And we know that you're going to walk away thinking, wow, our relationship's going to be great. And we're not going to have any problems again. And then a few weeks later, something can happen and you slip back into old habits. And then, it's too late. So we really want to make sure we're with you every step of the way. We like to be able to say no to backsliding, to be able to integrate what you learn, to hold you accountable, to make sure you're practicing the suggestions that we've taught, and really to be there to support you through that, because your relationship did not get to where it is in 2 days, and it's not going to get to where you want it to be in 2 days, but it's going to get you the motivation. It's going to get you to the better place so that you can begin your journey. And we're here to help you through that journey, not just the 2 days, but beyond.
We have a lot more details. Oh,
yeah, a lot more details on our website, but you can only cover so much in a weekly therapy. So we really have a chance to get out and explore, and it's really amazing. I love doing it because couples will say, like, they discover things about themselves, about their past, that I never even knew this about myself before. And I'm 40, 50 years old, 60 years old. They never even knew certain things that they've discovered in these 2 days. And that's because it's a calm, safe setting where we really get to explore in a non-judgmental way. And they see their lives transform before their very eyes. They really feel like, we've given them their relationship back. So it's just, I love doing it. So
that's awesome.
Again, and that's because that's that relationship wow, that aha that people get. You really need to be able to experience that for therapy to work. Because if you are not in a good place and you're not bought into your relationship, you can do the best you can to employ various techniques,
it's like
but it's not
putting a
going to get you
Band-Aid
anywhere.
on, right?
Right.
It's not really dealing with it at the core.
Right.
So we'd love for you to experience the 2-day with Shlomo. And if you're not, if you're wondering if you're a good candidate for this program, we want you to read more about it. We want you to apply for your own private relationship clarity phone session. It's about 20 or 30 minutes over the phone speaking with Shlomo. You can actually scroll down to on the page that you're actually on to apply for your session, or you can visit the link www.themarriagerestorationproject.com/marriage-intensives. So either way, you can just scroll down on the page that you're watching on, or you can visit this link to apply for your own phone session. So you actually can speak with Shlomo over the phone, give him a little bit more information about your relationship, what happened, what's going on, and he can really give you some clarity and point you in the right direction. because gaining clarity starts now. We don't want you to live in a fog anymore, not knowing what happened, how you got in this place, no more victim thought. We want you to be empowered so you know exactly what's going on.
So and you can make the best informed choice moving forward. Because if you're just reacting out of pain, you're going to, again, attract the same situation in the future.
Even if you decide to separate and move on and meet somebody else, the chances are if you're not aware of your relationship patterns, you're going to make the same mistakes. So we are here for you. We will be so excited to speak to you. Just fill out your application and I will either send you a text message or give you a call to schedule your phone session with Shlomo and give you the appointment time that you're looking for.
So we're looking forward to helping you discover your relationship and bring you back to those wonderful days when you first fell in love.
Amen. Thank you. And we'll be in touch. Oh, you know what? Let me just wave and say hello so we can see you guys. We'll put on the video real quick. Doesn't look like our camera is connected. Just a second. You can stay on to see us. If you'd like, or you can hang up. We just wanted to wave and say hello. Let's see. Turn camera on. That's okay. Our camera is out of commission right now. Temperamental, but we will see you soon. We hope to. So stay in touch with us and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.